Hello, Dan Pace here from Genuine Technologies with an episode exploring the journey of getting started. And this episode will have a bit of a focus on local and even international sports and athletics. So my guest today is James Davis. He is the general manager of FC Monmouth, a fast growing soccer or football club, if you will, that plays at the Count Basie Park in Red Bank, New Jersey. So, and this general manager position is a position that he started just about 4 years ago when he was 19 as well. So, first question for you is that as a general manager, I mean, what do you handle? What is a general manager's role? Let me start
Yeah,
there.
totally. And first off, thanks for having me. Very excited for this. This is awesome. It's pretty broad, I would say. You're handling a lot with a little bit of time and a lot of lack of sleep. I should say is the biggest thing. So I learned how to drink a lot of coffee in a short amount of time pretty quickly with this. But really, I think people just have this genuine conception that it's oh, general manager, you get to sign all the players and do all the scouting and pick up the paperwork. And it's really a lot more than that at this level specifically, I should say. It's a lot more about building the sustainability of a club and seeing what we could do to really drive the ship towards our general growth. And it's whatever the saying is in terms of as the tide rises, everybody goes with it. So as we begin to grow, we're able to help more people in the community, which is our biggest goal. So really the way I like to break it down is it really is general, if you will, in the sense that, yes, there is the player administration aspect that we have to put together a team to be able to be on the field. That is important. But at the same time, it really is a business too at the end of the day that we have to keep the ship steering. So with that, we have a lot of sponsorship opportunities. We do all of our marketing. Depending on the time of year, we have a pretty large volunteer and intern staff that I oversee as well that do an incredible job of not only showcasing ourselves, but the community, everything that we have going on across all of our socials, all of our events. And at the same time, it's just getting out there and letting ourselves be known too. So there's still so many people across the county that I say we reach about 5,000 people a year at our games currently, and there's 650,000 people in Monmouth County. So I'm not doing a good enough job yet, I should say. But with that, it's obviously a very big year and very excited to be involved at a pivotal moment, I would say, for the county specifically, and as well as the state and the rest of the country.
Oh, yeah, a lot going on, especially in terms of soccer. It's in a lot of social media types of posts keep coming to me. I'm not even a soccer player, so it's hidden all my stuff in the algorithm. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a broad aspect. I was expecting to just go straight into like ticket sales or marketing and all the basics, but I mean, yeah, you went way deeper than that. So, I mean, what's like the thing that surprised you from the role? What didn't you really expect as you were going into it that you saw more and more as you got in?
Yeah. I think I was a little bit siloed in the fact that I'm such a soccer nerd. So when I first started, I thought that everybody would just understand it to the capacity that I do. And I quickly and roughly found out that that's not the case. And oftentimes you do have to really kind of educate as well is a big part of it and educate the importance of what we do. That definitely plays a role, I would say. And it was probably the biggest hurdle from the start. It was overcoming that. And sometimes you're beating the drum a few too many times to my liking, but it is important and it has to be done. And again, the more people that become aware of what's going on in our backyard, I feel like on the topic of just how big of a year it is, I feel like people don't realize how much is going to be coming to our area. And I hope it doesn't get to the point that it just hits us all like a truck and everybody's saying, "Oh my God, what's going on for the next 5, 6 weeks this summer?" But it really is going to be a big deal. And as we've grown over the past five, this is the sixth year that I've been doing this now. It's definitely improved, and I've been able to see a lot of different aspects of the club in terms of our growth. But as it's grown, it's become more recognizable and more accessible as well, which is a big thing, which again, only helps everybody else as well in our community.
100%. Yeah, I love the community aspect you keep bringing into FC Monmouth, and keep mentioning it's definitely, especially with FC Monmouth, right? It's grown over the last years, especially last season, right? That was a record-breaking season with the championships and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, how has it grown from like the start to what it is now? In terms of maybe size, in terms of maybe programs, in terms of like the team comp as well as the team performance.
Yeah. The
So it changed
historical
a lot
side
over
of it
the
is
5 years.
yeah. The historically, when I wasn't involved prior to COVID, the team had a really strong start, doing playoffs first 2 years, and our men's team competing nationally starting in 2018. And then obviously COVID happening. COVID affects every business in a different way. Obviously, it hurt us pretty bad. We didn't have a 2020 season. The 2021 season was tough to find ways to engage people, and it slowly kind of grew back to where we wanted it to be. But I'd honestly say we didn't get back to those 2018, 2019 kind of figures up until probably 23 or 24. So, um, one of my bigger personal accomplishments, I would say, was launching our women's team in 2024. They were pretty highly successful right from the get go, and they still are. So they were National Team of the Week last year out of 150 teams across the country. We had National Player of the Week out of over 5,000 players. So it's only going to continue to grow. So our men's team made qualified for national playoffs for the first time in 4 years. So we definitely have a lot of momentum on the field, I'd say, going forward towards this 2026 season.
As I'll bring you attention for the even higher, quality players, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah.
Has that spread over to like other athletics too, like the success of FC Monmouth, all the marketing and such, and bringing in that crowd? Is that spreading to other athletics, other sports at that field?
It's always fun when you can kind of tell different stories of how we're able to be, as much as we want to spread our net across the whole county. We really do try to support local in Red Bank as much as we can. The prime example I can give is we had a game that overlapped with a local Red Bank youth team probably at the start of our season last year. And there's parents walking over and again, not even knowing what we do, which is completely okay. But they stuck around for half hour and they were like, "Oh my God, this is so awesome that I can bring my kids here right after a game." On the weekend and have an activity to do that's free and it's accessible. For them at the same time, So I definitely think that there's some a little bit of overlap for sure, and it's something that we're trying to actively do more. Whether it's bring in the local schools, how can we support those? It doesn't always just have to be about the travel teams. Any way, any shape of mind, idea, I am open to all of it, in how we can get creative to involve the sport with any group or individual, because at the end of the day, it's really only a benefit to everybody involved.
The sports, I guess, are bringing in people, and how some ways that you intentionally have been bringing in new people, bringing in, I guess, new
Yeah.
people into that community, and so they can enjoy the game, and also kind of create some stickiness, so they keep coming back.
Yeah, the retention part is one that I dabble with every single year, and I'll get into that in a
Yeah.
sec. But kind of our bread and butter is being able to support different youth teams, whether it's having a team outing or a team night. We offer fundraising opportunities if teams want to get involved and get engaged, come out to a game through fundraising through ticket sales, whatever it may be. We are open to everything. But I'd say again, right about that 2023 time, once we started to really kind of recover from COVID, and we kind of saw a need to get a little bit more creative outside of the basics. I guess I would say, to be able to engage different communities and to be able to bring people into our games and to raise awareness. So, with that being said, we kind of launched a little bit of a pilot in 23 in terms of getting into theme nights. Kind of dabbling a little bit with that minor league baseball style of family friendly fun.
Mm.
We did it for one of our home games, and it was a total hit. So we were like, all right, 2024, we're gonna hit the ground running with this, and we did a theme night for every single one of our home matches, and people loved it. And then that carried over this past year as well. So we've done so many different things under the sun that I'm trying to think of right now. I mean, we've done first responder night, pride night. We had Monmouth County night last year. Different ways that we're able to incorporate holidays, whether it's a kickoff to Memorial Day, all these types of things. We're able to get creative and have a lot of fun. I personally love our fan appreciation night. It's always our last men's and women's home game each year. Pretty much there's 90 minutes in the game. Everybody gets a raffle ticket, no matter who you're walking in with when you walk through our gates. And every 10 minutes, we raffle off some really cool prizes from some of our partners and local businesses. So some people have walked away with pretty much like $250 worth of soccer gear just because they showed up to a game on the weekend. So any way
Yeah,
that
they're going to come back.
yeah, exactly. It's a good ROI if we're getting down to the business aspect of it. But yeah, kind of going into that, it's an okay. We've got people in, and they've always said they've had a good experience, but to your point, how can we capture retention is a big one. Being quite frank, it's tough sometimes when a majority of our sales are cashed to the gate or are unmarked, but we try to get a little bit creative, whether it be offering some interactive experiences. So we have kind of QR codes that you can scan at our games where you can turn your picture that you took at the game into a cool little fan cover or commemorative item, and that's able to grab emails from things like that. So obviously emails are a big one, and we're able to send out some cool things to those people that do sign up for any kind of email list or anything like that, whether it be exclusive events. That we have some pretty exciting ones that we're going to be unveiling soon, as well as different get-togethers, insights on what we're doing out in the community, aside from just our games that you might want to get involved in, whether it be free clinics for youth athletes, what tournaments we're going to be at, giving out prizes. It's all good things to know and to just stay in the know. So I'd say it's something that I'm actively trying to do better at, I guess I would say, just because we do see so many people coming in through our gates, but then not coming back until next year. But again, at the end of the day, there's only so much time during the summer and people have so much going on. There really is so much to, I don't want to say compete, because everything that everybody's doing is so great, whether they're out supporting a different fundraiser or event or just spending time with your family. People need time for that, and we acknowledge that, and we just hope to be a little bit of the piece of the pie that people can enjoy their free time with. That's very limited during the summer
Mhm.
months.
Yeah, it's great that you're having a lot of people that's like coming out of convenience almost because like the park will come by, but then you kind of grab them in. So I'm hearing like you use a lot of fun, a lot of unique, kind of exciting type of aspects like events, activity. At the end of the day, though, it always kind of creates memories. That's kind of what I'm actually equating it all to, and then those memories kind of create you to come back, have a spot in that community. I think I even heard some of your past talks at like events when we've done in networking. And you mentioned like memories, right? Like you've developed memories early on, and your childhood like makes you
Yep.
so passionate about soccer. You're trying to make those with others in FC Monmouth, and then tie them into what community events as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't have an FC Monmouth when I grew up. It didn't exist. And I start to think of it now. We've been around since 2018, so that means we if someone's a graduating pretty much high school or coming up around 2028, 2029, 2030, they'll have had 10 plus years of FC Monmouth where pretty much probably their entire youth sports career they've had this opportunity to show up and go to games. And we've had different events and occurrences now where different people that are interning for us in
Mhm.
college now are saying, I grew up going to these games and this is something that I wanted to be a part of and see how that I can get involved and support, even if it's not playing. So I really think the coolest moment is going to be when we start to have those first few players that start coming in and they're like, I grew up coming to these games and watching these guys with my local youth team, and this is something that I aspire to be able to do. And now that they'd end up be playing for us, so that's something that's going to be a really cool full circle moment once that starts happening pretty consistently, and especially with local players, and that we're able to inspire people to go on and do bigger and better things. These are people that maybe they didn't want to go on and play soccer in college, but they saw this opportunity that they could possibly have now. And it motivates them a little bit. You leave our games with a little bit of a spark. I guess I would say is the best feeling, and it makes you want to go out and get on the field yourself. I mean, I could barely run around for 30 minutes now, but every time after our games, I'm like, when's the next time I'm getting out there with all of my buddies? It definitely gets people going and inspires them and it engages them to a level that I didn't have, like I said, when I was growing up. So I think that'll be the biggest full circle moment in the next few years that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I've seen actually a lot of people have success from the nonprofit type of world, doing
Mhm.
using like schools and younger kids to kind of get the message out there because they're kind of receptive to it and they're also not as busy as adults. But then once you have like the kids involved or hooked in some way, it just spreads to the adults naturally. And then they come to the games and support with the financially and like a little more material wise. And then yeah, like after a couple of years, they go through college and they start going into real life and they come back around. Especially with the part you just mentioned, since they might have an FC Monmouth, they'll have that competition that can push them a lot further than they would at their high school team or something like that. So I think that's going to get a lot more people to decide to go to that next level in college and maybe even professional and amateur leagues. That
Yeah,
definitely will play out. I'm excited to see that too.
it really, it kind of it gives such a local grasp on what the next level is, I think is
Mm,
the biggest thing. I didn't really have a good grasp on what it means to be a Division One soccer player when I was looking to play soccer in college when I was growing up, you know? Our local games were at Rutgers or Monmouth, and if you don't catch those in the fall, you weren't watching them at all because that's when the college soccer season is. So this is a completely different time of year. It's a completely different atmosphere, but in the sense that you really get up close and personal. I mean, there are people that are now getting signatures from future professional soccer players, and they're the ones that are able to say that they were the first ones to meet these people up close and personal because they were able to come to a game. So from that lens, I think it really puts up close and unique connection that it offers to the local athlete.
yeah, it definitely sounds like it. All right, well, let me talk about the elephants in the room. And you mentioned a few times already,
Yeah.
FIFA's coming to New Jersey, right? FIFA's coming to the whole eastern region of New Jersey, eastern region of the United
Yep.
States. First off, I mean, you know these numbers better than I do, better than anyone I've met so far, besides maybe the one or two FIFA like heads that have been introduced to you. I mean, what can we expect in terms of like people, in terms of like money, in terms of events that are going on? I mean, how many games are going to be played in New Jersey, like in New York in the
There's going to
area?
be 8 in New York, New Jersey, up at MetLife Giant Stadium, and then there's going to be 6 in the Philly area too, which people often kind of
Okay.
discount as well. But there's going to be a little bit of impact, hopefully, from that too.
No, definitely, because I'm expecting like it's almost 5 weeks or so, roughly 5 6
Yep.
weeks of the tournament. But I'm definitely expecting some people would want to come into especially internationally, a week or two before, a week or two after, and
Yep.
not be competing with their day to day agenda with FIFA. So they can kind
Totally.
of get best of like, hey, well, I'm visiting the states, and I also get to see the once every 4 years soccer tournament. This what about like people? Where do you have like the numbers of how many
Yeah, it's
people,
a,
how much
it's an
money these have
interesting
generated in the past?
it's an interesting
It's
thought.
staggering.
It is really the number that they're throwing around right now is $3.3 billion in economic development is estimated to come to the New York, New Jersey region, specifically just from those games up at MetLife. But people always ask like what does that actually mean, you know? I think the number that really shows the level of growth was when this was hosted in 94 out in California. The number to the surrounding LA area for the Rose Bowl game for the final was just 700 million. So obviously that's an exponential increase that's going to be coming to this area specifically. But people always say, okay, how or what does that mean? And I think the biggest moments that people have to conceptualize is again this isn't a Super Bowl. This isn't a one-off event like you mentioned. This is 5 weeks, and people might come before or after, and that turns into 7 8 weeks maybe. So this is really a 2 month time frame during this summer when we are already at our peak in this area that we're going to see a little bit of an explosion. But the people that are able to take advantage are the ones that get involved, and they're not just going on with their regular day. Obviously, public transport's going to play a big role. So we're going to see a lot of impact, I think, in my personal prediction, to the Red Banks, the Asburys, the Long Branches, the Belmars that have access to this local transport for people that are going to be coming to the North Jersey area. I jokingly say there's going to be thousands of people flying into Newark Airport that think they're going to be landing right in New York City and then realize that they're 45 minutes away and need something to do for the day. So I really do anticipate a lot of people coming down to the shore. I know here in the county, there's a lot of local businesses as well as our local government that's doing a lot of great advertising, whether it be in the train stations or the airports and saying, hey, if you have a day or two, make your way down. It's super easy, super fun, and you're going to have a great time at all the local places that we have to offer and really are able to showcase. So I think that the number last year was over 31 or $32 million in just beach revenue last year. I see that number getting exploded through the roof, you know. But really, if you want to get involved, you have to actively seek it. It's not just going to be handed to you. And I will say that. And to engage the soccer fan, it's a little bit more unique in the sense as opposed to the everyday American that just wants to go to the bar and have a beer. You know, obviously playing the games is important, but having a little bit of a cultural tie and an understanding is a lot more of what a soccer fan is looking for as well. And really, what does that mean? It's again, it's there's no international person that's walking into a Chili's or an Applebee's to watch their soccer game as a American may to watch their Sunday football game, you know? So people are actively seeking out restaurants and businesses that are getting a little bit more creative and have a little bit of a more unique feel, just because that's what their local pub has in Ireland or the UK or France or Germany, whatever it may be. And that's something that they're more appealed to. So if you're kind of advertising yourself as that standalone American business, you might want to think about getting a little bit creative this summer and ways to kind of switch up and engage or host your own watch party. Maybe it's for a specific country. Maybe you have a French night. I don't know if there's the Paris baguettes of the world stay open for a little bit later for the 1 o'clock games or the 3 o'clock games to be able to watch the soccer matches with the coffee. There's so many different ways that you can go on about it to really differentiate yourself as a business. But the one thing I say is you have to get creative, and you can't just be the person that just puts it up on the screen and hopes for the best, because that's what everybody else is going to be doing. So with the thousands, if not millions of people that are going to be visiting us, there's a genuine opportunity here, but it has to be taken advantage correctly.
Yeah, add some sort of fun, unique, and exciting to it, right?
Yep.
Definitely bring up a great point with, a lot of people want to fly into Newark, a lot of people want to fly into, JFK and all that, and then take the train right down to the shore because it's just so convenient. The train's right
Yeah.
there, especially at Newark Airport. So yeah, if you're a business that's close to a train station, find some sort of marketing on that billboard. That might be the most valuable place to be. It sounds like, and then that June month. Um, and also, you actually kind of came up with a great idea because I spent way too much time in the restaurant industry. But when you're saying like these, countries playing, like make an Italian special, make a French
Mhm.
special, and maybe have them verse each other. Like, your vote goes towards that team, or
Yeah.
your dish choice goes towards that team, or
Yeah.
something. I'll post on social like the winner,
Simple stuff.
who won the more favorite cuisine out of France or
Which
Italian
team
that
do you
day.
think is gonna win, you know?
Yeah.
That'll bring in double the amount of tips that you would normally have just by
Yeah, and then you
engaging.
can make a conversation too if you have your, server that's, knows soccer, you can definitely make a conversation out of it and get some little rapport going.
And
Yeah,
really just like
tons of opportunities. Yeah, just need to think of it and then take advantage and then,
yep,
work towards it. I know you've talked so many times how much work and how much time go into getting like the permit for a watch party, getting any sort of FIFA relationship that's on a formal, bounds. Um, and you want to talk, have you been building any of those for FC Monmouth, or are you involved in
in
setting
terms
some of
of
those up?
watch parties,
Yeah, watch parties or any sort of like
100%.
relationship with
So,
the FIFA
it's
officials.
definitely a lot of things that we have on the back burner for this upcoming summer. It's gonna be pretty exciting, I would say. We can't really reveal too much right now.
Yeah, what can you tease?
But again, it's like I said, it's 5 weeks long. There's gonna be games going on almost every single day. Whether or not we are ended up collaborating with local municipalities, local cities, different groups that are want to be hosting specific parties for specific nations. Those are ways that we're able to get creative and we're able to come in. And the way that I view it is we are an event amplifier, and we're able to unite and connect people a little bit more through that, whether it's us bringing a player to be able to meet the community and hang out with the kids that are going to be there kicking the ball around. We have awesome setups that we're able to give out different giveaways, prizes, and some of them might be country themed for games, which are always fun and cool. Whether it's different games that we have that's a little bit unique to soccer, and again, we can't really spill the beans too much, but there's going to be some cool setups that we'll have and some cool events that we're going to be doing pretty much, I don't want to say on a daily basis, but we're going to be pretty widespread across the county, as far south as kind of that Bradley Manasquan area, all the way up north to kind of Middletown Keyport, so we want to, and as far west as Freehold, so we really want to be able to make our presence known and to be able to support as many people as we possibly can. But also being intentional about is important too. It's one thing to just kind of slap your name on an event and say that you're a part of it, but it's another thing to actually show up to support, get involved, and to, again, be an amplifier for that local community that you're going into.
Yeah, if you want to, really benefit you, you have to be present, you have to be relevant, right? You gotta be nice words from the first podcast I ever did that's still sticking with me. That presence and relevance is everything in everything you're doing. So I saw there was a new partnership with Monmouth County Tourism
Yeah.
that I saw that was announced, and it's what historical first. I mean, what's going on with that? Can you tell me a little more about that? How that's going to
Yeah.
play out
Yeah.
in
So
real life a little bit more? And
the
also,
county,
are there other opportunities for like other corporations, organizations to be involved in that program, or
yeah,
is it more just you and FC Monmouth?
100%. So I think the county is incredibly supportive of us and want to really make that known. Both all of the commissioners as well as the tourism department specifically. And what I really like to say to people is, um, the tourism department, just like us, is an amplifier for the local community. If you go to their website, they have their events page that is completely free to post on and to advertise events that you are hosting. The only criteria is that it's in Monmouth County. It's pretty simple. So with that being said, we're really looking to work with them to not only offer everything that we do, whether it be with our players or our games, to be able to obviously bring more people into this community, whether that be, who knows, if it's international that's looking to catch another soccer match for a game, that they're in the North Jersey area and they see a matchup that we have and the players that we have, they might think it's interesting and they're coming to Red Bank this summer. That's extra tourism dollars that's going into the local businesses after they go to that game and they're out buying dinner or grabbing a beer post match, and it's a small impact, but it really snowballs into the future. So people are looking for local things to do, specifically soccer related. And the fact that we are the county's team and we represent the county across the country, we're very appreciative to have been recognized for that. So I think really the people, we're going to be starting a lot of initiatives that raise awareness for everything that the county offers. Obviously, brewed and distilled in Monmouth is a great example of what they've done to showcase all the breweries across the county. Now they have Slice in Monmouth, which they just launched this past month, where
Mhm.
every single pizzeria across the county, and I say we have the best pizza in the world, I would argue, but those businesses have an opportunity to be showcased now. And there's different ways that we're going to be able to get creative, whether it's through the Ride in Monmouth program that people don't know about, that you can have accessible transportation through Monmouth County. It doesn't have to be through train or Uber or everything like that. There are literal buses that the county has that they use to offer services. So again, little tidbits that we're working on, whether it's being able to uh, provide transportation to underserved communities to get to our games that previously might not have been able to be able to experience it. There's so many children and teams and different groups that when we go out for feedback, they've told us before, this is something we would love to be able to experience. I just don't have a way to be able to bring 20 kids from my soccer team here to be able to get to this game. So the county's really kind of stepping up and getting involved with us. And again, we're so appreciative of it. And it's really going to help grow everybody around us together.
Yeah, it's going to tie in perfectly with the 250 celebrations that they're
Yep.
doing everywhere as well, and they're doing a lot of transportation with that going on too. Yeah, there's one thing that you just said that made me think of. Almost sounds like you could use as like a international traveler, someone that's coming here for FIFA. Like they could use a booklet for like this is how you get around. This is where the train stations are. This
Mhm.
is like this, that, the other thing. And some like just all the tips and tricks that will help.
Yeah. So the county has their tourism guide that they're going to be, I don't know if it's in
Is there
April.
something coming up
It's
that?
every year. So right now they have their photo contest that just closed for the front cover. But they're going to have a whole specific soccer page about things to do and restaurants to get involved at, all these different types of things. So that will be launching, and then that's available either virtually, which is just a simple PDF that you can access, and then it's going to be, we're going to have it on site at our games for people to grab if they're looking for local resources. And again, it's they're doing a great job of making that accessible as well, to make sure that, again, like we said, all these people that have no clue what Monmouth County is, hopefully they will know by the end of these 5-6 weeks.
But it's tons of opportunity to show them, like you're kind of saying, they're going to be looking for those questions, like how do I get around? Where do all these
Mhm.
transportation hubs? Where
Mhm.
the transportation opportunities too, specifically that because like you made a good point there. Monmouth is putting in a lot of buses, putting a lot of transportation type of shuttles all over the place for the FIFA as well as the 250. So I mean that's perfect to take advantage of, but it's also kind of hard to find, especially because it's kind of new, and I'm not sure if that's going to be sticking around like past the 250 as much past the FIFA. 'Cause I'm sure
Mhm.
there's going to be quite a drop of traffic. Yeah, a lot of opportunity there to educate all the tourists that are going to be coming. 'Cause it's going to
Yeah.
need some education. On that topic of education, is actually going to be one of my last questions. Cause I've been going through this question a bunch in my head, especially with FIFA coming up, and I'm not necessarily in the soccer community. I'm a non-soccer person. I want to be respectful to fans that are coming, especially internationally. So my question is, should we be calling it football when they all come for those
Oof.
5 weeks? Or should we still say soccer and just not be, because it's a little more genuine since we're not
And
playing it?
it's
Or I don't know, this felt like it might be an imposter type thing, or I don't know,
no,
is it respectful or is it imposter?
it's an interesting question, but I feel like it's almost a little bit of the American arrogance in me, but it's everybody's visiting us. I don't want to say you play by our rules, but it's soccer.
Okay.
This is what we grew up with. This is what we're teaching our local kids, our local community, that they're growing up to aspire to be soccer players. So when we call it that, again, there's going to be plenty of bar fights over this, and that's just going to be fun stories that
Part of the memories.
people will be able to tell these for 30 years. I have so many different friends right now that they're able to tell stories from 30 years ago when we hosted the World Cup in 94. And again, that's something that I want to be able to say that we were able to do as well. Like, again, we are Monmouth County's soccer team, and people will, who knows, maybe there's some random tourist that comes in and says, what does that mean if you're the county soccer team, and then they get to learn, and then they go back to England, or who even knows, England, Senegal, Asia, wherever it may be. And they're telling their friends, oh, I went to this local community soccer game. And then they're like, what, soccer? And it turns into this whole conversation. So I honestly kind of like that aspect of it. And it kind of got my brain thinking, in the sense that we're doing something that's going to stick with them, and that will always stick with them. So hopefully the US has a few good games that we can back up our talk, and they don't say, oh, you can't call it soccer anymore because you guys don't rule the world. But if we have a good tournament, I think it'll really make a lasting impact as Americans, I would say.
Definitely. No, that's a good point. Good point. All right, so I feel a little less. Feel a little more like into it. I can just call it soccer. Feel a little safer with that now that I have someone that's in the soccer community that gave me an okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, before we close things up, I mean, any like last words, any like last messages you want to send out for athletics, for soccer, for FIFA?
Yeah, yeah, I really always like to leave it just with, again, it's going to be such a big year, and there's so many different ways to get involved, and I'm more than happy to be a resource to anybody that reaches out to me or to us as a club. Our socials are a great handle to be able to see what we have going on. It's literally everything's at We Are Mod. It's a cool way to kind of really represent everything that we do, because we are here for everybody. We're here to connect everybody, inspire, and entertain. Those are our three biggest pillars, our three biggest goals. So I want to say it should be pretty easy to be able to do that this this upcoming summer. But again, it's gonna take a lot of lack of sleep, a lot of hard work, and a lot of hours put in. But it's something that I want to be able to look back in August and not have any regrets. So I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited for what it's going to bring, not only to the tourism aspect that we mentioned across the county, but really, honestly, just putting the state of New Jersey on the map as well. It's a small state, big attitude, and we're here to show it, So we're ready to put on a show this summer. We're really excited to welcome some new faces to our home games at Count Basie Field in Red Bank, and any way that we could support, anybody's welcome to reach out. So thanks again.
Great. Thanks you for being here. Thank you for getting started with FC Monmouth. The whole yeah, 5 6 years you said.
Yeah.
Which like I said, you're 19 years old. I mean, you're just starting to get your feet under you, and now you
Yeah.
got this entire like thing to put together and put together almost from scratch. And plus, you had right down the road 4 or 5 years from now, you got this massive FIFA type of event coming to the states that you had to look forward to. And you want to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
It's a big position of responsibility, and you've been measuring up. And I'll also leave in a couple of words that I always think about when I see you. It's that getting comfortable being uncomfortable thing, and you just epitomize that so much. And I think you do that with your players, and kind of all of FC Monmouth really epitomizes that very well.
Totally. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.